This lesson we want to multiply expressions involving radical expressions. This puts together a lot of different skills. Multiply and simplify all of these. The square root of 5 times the square root of 10. Since they're both square roots, we're allowed to multiply. We get 50, but 50 can be broken down into the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. The square root of 25 is 5, so our final answer would be 5 times the square root of 2. The square root of 7 times the square root of 42. We could multiply these together, however, notice 42 is 7 times 6. So this could be written as 7 times 7 times 6, or the square root of 7 squared times 6. Which means we could write this as the square root of 7 squared times the square root of 6. The square root of 7 squared, this is a perfect square, so we have 7 times the square root of 6. Sometimes it's easier to break it down and look at it this way than to multiply and get a large number and then have to break it down later. The square root of 18x times 5x. We multiply them together, we get the square root of 90x squared. Can we break this down into those that we can have as a perfect square and those that aren't? Let's see, we can have 9 times 10. X squared is an even number, so we're left with 3x times the square root of 10. How about multiplying 2 to the square root of 7 times 5 to the square root of 3? Please notice you're allowed to multiply the outsides together. 2 times 5 is 10. You're allowed to multiply the insides together as long as they're both square roots. So we now have the square root of 7 times 3 is 21. Notice we cannot pull these together unless we can simplify the square root of 21. So our final answer here would be 10 times the square root of 21. What happens if we have a binomial? We use the distributive property like before. The square root of 2 times the square root of 5 equals the square root of 10. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. So we have the square root of 10, but the square root of 4 is 2. This one's a little more complicated. The square root of 3 times 3 to the square root of 2 minus 2 to the square root of 5. Once again, we use the distributive property. Notice that the number outside is 1, so we have 3 times the square root of 6, multiplying the insides. Same way with this one, we have negative 2 times the square root of 15. Notice that you can only multiply the outsides together or multiply the insides together. This can't be simplified, this can't be simplified, so as ugly as it appears, this is our final answer. Suppose we multiply a binomial times a binomial. We use the familiar FOIL method, which stands for first, outer, inner, and last terms. So our first terms, let's multiply these two together. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. Our outer terms, and notice this is outside the radical and this is inside, so we have plus 5 times the square root of 2. Our inner terms, outside, inside, minus 5 times the square root of 2. And our last terms, minus 25. The square root of 4 is the same as 2. These two cancel out, minus 25. So our final answer is negative 23. Let's try another one. The square root of 3 plus 2 times the square root of 3 minus 5. First terms, the square root of 9. Notice they're both inside, so we can multiply them. Outer terms, so we have negative 5 times the square root of 3. Inner terms, plus 2 times the square root of 3. And last terms, minus 10. The square root of 9 is 3. Minus 5 the square root of 3 plus 2 the square root of 3 gives us minus 3 times the square root of 3. We're allowed to add them because they have the same radicand, minus 10. Let's put the number part together. So we have negative 7 minus 3 the square root of 3. Finally, if we have a binomial squared with a radical, but remember this just means the square root of 5 minus 2 times the square root of 5 minus 2. So again, as we FOIL, we get the square root of 25. Negative 2 times the square root of 5. Notice negative 2 is on the outside, square root of 5 is on the inside. Negative 2 times the square root of 5 plus 4. The square root of 25 is 5. Minus 2 to the square root of 5 minus 2 is minus 4 times the square root of 5 plus 4. putting our 9 radicals together, we have 9 minus 4 times the square root of 5.